Manager of Business Intelligence. Welcome. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm the Senior Manager of Business Intelligence. I've been with US Cold, it'll be 11 years this July. I actually started in our logistics department as an analyst and got really involved in Tableau, building dashboards with Tableau, and now I lead our BI group, so we are responsible for helping the rest of the organization visualize data, get answers from their data, get the access to data that they need through dashboards in Tableau.
Well, what motivates you to do this work, and what does it feel like when an insight that's surfaced actually changes a decision?
What motivates me is that we can help other departments solve problems with data and with numbers. And we kind of get an eye into what everyone's working on and what everyone's trying to figure out, because we're participating in all of those initiatives because everyone needs data. And one of my favorite things is when I'm in like a meeting and someone's presenting, and in their presentation they're showing like dashboards or something that my team built, and you can tell that they're using it daily to make decisions. And it just makes you really proud and excited that we've come a long way. Having been here for 10 years too, I've seen the journey that we've been on as a company to be more data driven, and so I get excited now that it's become a natural inclination for most people to look at data and use data.
I literally just looked at a dashboard this morning, so I wanted to know what the turn times were for a certain facility, and I'm like, look at that, there's a Tableau for that. I remember when we first started this journey with Tableau, you're like, you have to ask. You have to know what you're asking for. You can't say, I want to see turn times. You have to know the reason why you're asking for it. So how do you know when a stakeholder is asking the right question versus just saying, build me this?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of it comes out to someone who might either ask for an output or an outcome. Usually if someone's asking, I just want X, I want to ask questions of why, like what action are you going to take on that information? How can we go like one step further to understand the problem you're trying to solve or the question you're trying to answer?
So you guys help them say, here, what problem are you solving, not necessarily what report do you want to have, right? You're
exactly, yeah. Or if someone's asking for a report, we just want to understand, okay, like what are you using that for? Because maybe there's the next step that we can automate or give you information on so that you don't even have to necessarily look at that report every day, or we can get you further to the decision.
Or maybe that's the natural follow-up to whatever you're going to give them is a report, and they're like, oh, wait a second, what about this? It's like, well, if you ask the right question, we could have built that in the first place.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I think that's really kind of changed how we think about questions and framing problems is, hey, what do I want this report to tell me versus, hey, I just want to have this report.
Sure.
What data points about food infrastructure or cold chain surprised you when you first joined US Cold 11 years ago?
That's a hard question, because when I joined US Cold, I was right out of college, so I feel like I, quite frankly, didn't even know much about the cold chain, and so I think it was all just a learning experience. I mean, there's definitely a lot of acronyms, but I think one thing that really is interesting is, especially because the nature of differences in all of our customers, our data can sometimes be really unique depending on the customer, and having to understand from a customer perspective, their data might look a certain way because of their ordering patterns, and it might be totally different than a customer in a completely different, market. So trying to bring that all together and understand our data to make clear decisions from it is just interesting.
How far have we come in terms of data, understanding our data, collecting the data, governing the data, all of that?
I mean, we've come really far. I think, I was joking about how far we've come as a company in data-driven decision-making. I think it's kind of also the same in terms of our data foundation. I mean, back in the day, we used to have to just enter a help ticket and have someone from IT write us this query to get this one data point, and by the time we got it, it was outdated. And today, we are actively modeling our data in our data warehouse. We're streaming in real-time data. Our operational data is real-time, and we're modeling it with the end use in mind and how the business actually uses the data, not just here's a copy of all the data in all of our database tables, and now let's figure out how to get it to mean something.
Thank you for listening to the ColdCast. Please like and follow to hear part 2.